Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, the Leilani of Barbados Mental Hospital. What a lot of you may know is that after the catastrophic BBC interview, people are suspecting that Prince Harry has lost his entire mind. But what you don't know is that I've gone deep undercover, posing as a psych ward patient. I have applied to be Prince Harry's roommate here at the hospital so that I can ask him one question. What were you thinking when you said,
I don't know how much longer my father has.
Why would he say that? It seems so unnatural for a son to say that about their father. It's almost as if someone else said it to him. You know, your father doesn't have much time left and we need new material. So you better try and get to him and talk to him. I wonder who said that to him. I wonder if it's somebody who realizes that herself and Harry are running out of money, running out of options to make money. I wonder if it's because Spare fetched upwards of £20 million. And surely a book called Charles Told Me would sell a lot more than, say, Eugenie Told Me. So maybe the countdown is not so much as to when King Charles kicks the bucket, but it might be a countdown of gaining material for a book. I'm just wondering where that comment came from. It was so out of left field, as they say, and I don't know why he would even be thinking like that about his own father. Between that comment and the comment about how he feels he was stitched up so that the government wants him unalived, so they stitched him up to not get security, but also he wants that government to guard his life. So he trusts the government enough to guard his life, but they want him unalived. In collusion, of course, with his father, who he wants to reconcile with. Even Dr. Raj Prasad, a real psychiatrist, found something wrong with that logic. Let's have a look.
Also, it's all an establishment stitch-up. Well, then you want them to protect you from...
Because they're going to stitch you up then if you think there was already a stitch-up.
That sounds a bit crazy to me. You're not following through the logic of your own argument.
So is he crazy?
Well, I wouldn't want to comment directly, but I do
No,
think...
I'd like you to comment directly.
I know you would, but I...
He said, it seems a bit crazy. No, but it also crossed my mind that maybe this is calculated. I mean, maybe this court loss was what Harry was hoping for because it gives him free rein to lash out at the royal family and play the victim again. People are saying that Meghan is the only breadwinner in the family now. She has all of these podcasts and this and that. I disagree. I think Meghan realizes that she has nothing without leaking secrets from the royal family. She has nothing without bashing the royal family. She has no personality. She's not really capable of making money in terms of business. And so really they need King Charles to speak to Harry in order to get more information. I'm sorry. This is what it's all about. From the very beginning, this is what it's been all about. Remember, Oprah, their first windfall of cash. Okay, so now we do have to get to the podcast review. Don't worry, we are in padded cells. It will be all good, no matter how upset we get with it. It's so funny, right, that the podcast drops on Tuesdays, because every time it drops, I'm like, it's Tuesday. And do you remember in Vanity Fair magazine article on Meghan being a monster, that Meghan's staff said, quote, after working with her, meaning Meghan, though, this person realized, oh, any given Tuesday this happened. And then her podcast drops every Tuesday. It's poetic justice, really. Meghan Markle's latest podcast is called Your One Big Break with Clever Blends Hannah Mendoza. And by Your One Big Break, Meghan is talking about herself because she gave Hannah her one big break. Surprise! It's all about Meghan. Now remember I said that Meghan is not interviewing anyone that she doesn't have a stake in? Okay, wait, that sounded a bit murderous. Hold on, wait, let me rephrase that. Let me say that a bit better. Meghan is invested in every business she's talking about on this podcast. But even though she's an investor, she still has to interrupt them, make it all about her.
The funniest thing about it is I had never invested in something before. So I had received a gift basket from my friend Drew. Had I just had my baby or I was pregnant?
I think you were still pregnant. I don't think you'd had Lily yet.
Yes, so it would have been at the beginning of that year.
Yeah.
And then months later, is when so you saw me when I was very pregnant.
She cannot be happy for anyone other than herself. Meghan Markle, the investor, I mean, it should be called Confessions of a Female Investor, not Founder. But I guess she couldn't figure that one out. Every time Meghan invests in anything or shows up at anything, she Markles it. And I'm using Markle in the way of ruins it. Because of Meghan's toxic nature, the companies go under such scrutiny. They go under a microscope and then they find stuff like this clever coffee brand. They found out that there was some slave labor going on in the Uyghur people in China. They found out that there was some lead products in the ingredients. Meghan, of course, starts out with "How did you meet me?" But this time she actually says, instead of talking about your story, Hannah, let's talk about how you met me.
Hi.
Hello.
So, as opposed to starting with just where it all began for you, I want to start with where we first met. Do you remember?
Of course I remember. I mean, it was probably the biggest thing I'd done at that point. Coming to a house and meeting with you.
And there's this huge pregnant pause because Meghan is like, give me the glory, bring it on more and more and more. And so she's just like, She actually doesn't say anything. It's a huge pause.
A pregnant pause is a term used to describe a pause or silence that is laden with meaning or suspense.
And at that point, I wanted to turn off the podcast. I wanted to delete the app. I wanted to turn off my phone for the rest of the day. But I had to force myself to persevere. Imagine, right, that Hannah thought the biggest moment of her life was going to Meghan's house. You know how she bought that house? By lying on the royal family. Hannah's a Brit, by lying on the royal family and indeed the British people. So when you're in that house, just be mindful of that. Are you okay, Hannah? Because she's British, as I just said, she's very self-depreciating. But even then, Meghan is mean girling her, talking about, yes, and you came to my house in like this, I don't know, it's like a linen overalls, linen jumpsuit, and these Birkenstocks. At first, actually, Meghan said the girl was barefoot, which the girl was not barefoot. She was wearing Birkenstocks. But then Meghan's like, and you just kept nervously pushing your feet in and out of the Birkenstocks because you were like so nervous to be in my presence. Silly girl.
I remember when you came to the house, we were sitting outside, and I just remember you kept shifting your feet in and out of your Birkenstocks. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this my first investment?
I just have to say, you reminded me of the Birkenstock moment. And my first thought was, what on earth was I thinking? I think I wore Birkenstocks and like
a linen
I remember
jumpsuit.
thinking a linen jumpsuit in the morning and being like, well, this is the least wrinkled thing that I have. And this is going to be very impressive. So
Hannah sits there and just takes it on. And I'm just like, she's belittling you to make herself look more important. I mean, just for context, why doesn't Meghan Markle say what she wore to the meeting? Was it one of her famous power suits that she wears inappropriately everywhere? Meghan describes this meeting at her fabulous mansion house as not like a shark tank, like a dolphin tank. We've heard that quote before. It's foolish, it's dumb, and it's plagiarist as well.
Do you remember I said to you, I was watching a lot of Shark Tank at the time. And I said, this is not Shark Tank. Think of this as Dolphin Tank.
Yes.
These are very friendly. These are very friendly waters. It's all going to be good.
You're still copying Shark Tank. Stop it. Okay, so this is probably the biggest takeaway from the podcast I'm going to drop on you right now. Spoiler alert. Hannah talks about putting mushrooms in this coffee because she believes in mushrooms making people feel better. But then Meghan, who can't help but jump in, recklessly admits that she also used alternative medicine mushrooms during her pregnancy to make her feel better. And she went to an Ayurvedic vet or whatever.
Somehow you say mushrooms and now people have a connotation attached to it, but it's really just a food trend that I believe you were far ahead of in terms of saying, hold on, these have properties that can in some way make you feel differently in a really safe way. Mm-hmm. During my pregnancies, I had an Ayurvedic doctor, and so much of it was about seeing food as medicine.
It doesn't seem like she was pregnant. I'll tell you why. She is a high risk, elderly pregnant woman at this point who has had preeclampsia from the first pregnancy. Very high risk. Who is high risk and goes out to alternative medicine and airy fairy stuff put in their body knowing that they're high risk. So it's almost like she really wasn't pregnant after all, because no pregnant person would do that. And no pregnant person should influence other pregnant people to do that. It's dangerous. She shouldn't have a podcast. It's irresponsible, it's dangerous, and the only medicine she should be talking about is the medicine that she's been given in the psych ward of Leilani of Barbados. Okay. So I said at the top that the one big break that Hannah got was Meghan Markle investing in the company. But it's even bigger than that, because Meghan got Oprah to promote the coffee.
Matcha super latte, and with a chai super latte, and my new favorite, golden super latte.
She was wearing this white shirt, and she live made...
Live or lied?
And she live made a turmeric latte. And I was just looking at her shirt and saying, oh my God, I hope it doesn't spill all over her. And she made one live and took a sip and just was the most organic, wonderful reaction where she just said,
It's delicious. Happy holidays.
I think I fell on the floor.
It was viral. Everything started moving. The numbers started going crazy. And that's all because of you, Meghan. Oprah to the rescue once again. I wonder if Oprah could do that today, though. Because she's been markled. So now Oprah can't even do that. And Meghan interrupts again, talking about how she did this ad too for clever coffee brands. I mean, why bring it up? The most cringe ad ever that she did. Remember that? Where she like tries to fist pump somebody, but she misses because she's so awkward and relatable.
I want to give a huge shout out to our amazing, clever team here at HQ. Without them, we are nothing. Our fulfillment crew, lovingly packing your lattes. We've been listening to Britney on loop since 2019. Our very smart, only slightly nerdy digital team, making sure the website doesn't crash again like it did last year. Finally, the glue that literally holds us all together. Our incredible, resilient fulfillment team that have helped make 2023 such a big success.
Notice that Meghan is in every single frame of this video. Hannah goes on to talk about how she obsesses over ideas in the middle of the night. I mean, doesn't everyone? But if you, Hannah, think that that is a problem, you can always check yourself into the Leilani of Barbados mental hospital. Not sponsored. Also, medical disclaimer, this is not a real mental hospital. What I really want, look, it's happening to me, vocal fry. What I really want to find a cure for is Meghan's vocal fry. It's off the charts in this interview. I'm not sure if it's put on or not put on. There is something about it that comes and goes, but I haven't quite pinpointed what it is. But we must find a cure for that, because you really have the worst voice for podcasting. There's just, if maybe she showed her image, like if she had footage of the podcast, maybe then there's a chance. But just to hear that voice, grating, it's not good. Another thing that is a definite Meghan Markle trait is the word salad. We get word salad on both ends. I kind of checked out, but I think they were talking about being fearless leaders, but there was so much word salad that whatever advice they were giving about being a founder got lost in all the buzzwords. So I can't really help you with that. Another thing that really stood out to me is that Clever Blends is not just Hannah. There's a co-founder, and his name is Roger. Raj is the real brains behind the operation, it seems. And he's also the inspiration for the coffee company itself. So how are we interviewing a female founder when it's really a man that did it all? It's female founder to you, though. Another little thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm going to watch it go on as the podcast go on. Meghan has this thing where she's trying to convince her guests that they are actually in business to sell it to a bigger company. In this case with Hannah, it's Starbucks, but I've noticed it in each of the podcasts. So don't you just want to sell? And I realized that I have decoded Meghan Markle's actual business plan, because Meghan is lazy and Meghan has no ideas. When you have real ideas, heartfelt ideas, you're not just thinking of giving it to somebody else, even for all the money in the world. It's your baby, it's your passion, it's your whatever you want to call it. But because Meghan is so lazy and so shallow, her whole point of opening all of these businesses, which should have been a red flag in the first place, opening multiple businesses and multiple trademarks, and is because she really thought that she could just open these shell companies, have no substance to them, and because she's Meghan Sussex, which in her mind means successful, other companies, huge companies, would buy her little shell companies, and that's it. She just has to sit back and take the money. That was her real plan. She's not passionate about no gardening, no popcorn. No, she's not passionate about anything. She just wants people to give her money for having that name, the royal family's name, that she hates them. So, having said that, I would like the royal family to address this and realize that it's time to take the title. It's really, with every step she makes, gives you more reason to take the title, because she wants bigger companies to buy your name, royal family, and you won't get any of that money. Is it stealing? It's very stealing-ish. In conclusion, I must say that it is getting easier to review these podcasts because Meghan is a one-trick pony. She's so devoid of any substance that she just repeats the same things over and over again.
I don't need to prove to you why that's your loss.
She's actually just trying to prove these things. She's trying to prove she was pregnant. She's trying to prove she's a founder. She's trying to prove that she's liked, which is never going to happen, right? Okay. She's trying to prove that she's better than everyone she's interviewing. And I find that really crazy because when she was on Jamie Lump on a Log, Kern Lima podcast, her whole thing was, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not here to prove anything. And I don't want to prove anything. So here's my challenge, Meghan. If it is that you are not trying to prove anything, cancel the podcast, delete the previous ones, and just come off the internet altogether, actually. If you're not trying to prove anything. Because you're not trying to prove anything, but here's the podcast of me trying to prove everything. What are we doing here? Anyway, I must go to the lobby to await my new roommate, Prince Harry. He should be checking in shortly if he hasn't gone to Vegas. I'm afraid visitation hours are over. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with me. You know I needed it. And don't forget to lose your minds in the comments. I love you all so much and you know that. Please don't forget to subscribe, press the bell notifications. And like the video if you liked it. Thank you all so much. Bye. Love you.
Bye.